Well, it's that time of year again, where we take a look back at the year that came before and talk about the games that I enjoyed the most. As with previous years, this video will be me briefly talking about 20 games in alphabetical order that I enjoyed that all came out in 2023, or at the very least, the version of the game I played came out in 2023. I'll tell you why I liked that game, and give each of them a little award in the corner here, like Best Multiplayer, or Favorite Surprise Reveal, or Best Waifu, and then the video will eventually end because that's how time works. Anyways, warnings and explanations out of the way, let's get this end of the year train a-rollin'.
Graph paper! Kill it! Kill it!
Starting things off, we have not only the winner of Game of the Year at the 2023 Please Wrap It Ups, but also my personal Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3 is an absolute love letter to the Dungeons & Dragons formula, allowing players to do an untold number of actions to resolve just about any situation they come across. Throw in wonderfully written and acted characters, an intriguing yet D&D fitting narrative, enough humorous moments to help balance out the constant dread, and even Scratch, winner of Bestest Boy of 2023, and well, how could this not be my favorite game from this past year? While I haven't spent nearly as much time with this game as I have others, even as much time as some of the games on this list, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that I know I'll be rolling initiative in for years to come with. Thanks in no small part to my hot demon waifu, Blood Daddy, literal bear who is also a bear, and the personification of an early 2000s live journal blog by my side. Plus, as a forever DM myself, it's nice to occasionally be considered a player when playing D&D. Too bad the final boss of this campaign ended up being Hasbro instead of some eldritch horror.
The person voted most likely to be Banksy.
Before Sega dropped the bomb that they're making a new Jet Set Radio game at the Game Awards, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk was the only sign of life that we'd be getting anything like it. A spiritual successor to the rollerblading graffiti tagging Dreamcast series, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk has the visuals, style, music, attitude, and gameplay that are all top-notch, grade A incredible. The story of slowly taking New Amsterdam one district at a time is very fitting for a gang warfare type experience, and while there's a few twists and turns that are fairly heavily telegraphed, this feels like a game ripped straight out of the late 90s to early 2000s and made it into an incredibly fun, hard to put down experience. It also wins some points for me for being a game where your character gets decapitated in the opening mission and gets a robot head, so now he's just fine. It's just kinda silly and I love it. I can't wait to see what Sega has in store for a potentially open world Jet Set Radio title, but until then, I will gladly spend my time skating through the streets of New Amsterdam. High school was already rough for some of us, but I can only imagine that trying to fit in would have been far worse if I had random space magic stuff shooting out of my hands after every other class. Cosmonious High is the latest game from the developers of Job and Vacation Simulator, and similar to those games, this one largely revolves around themed minigames with vibrant, explorable areas and rich, fun characters. However, instead of playing a human exploring an interactive museum made by robots who have a vague understanding of humanity, you're instead playing as the newest student of Cosmonious High, who has the ability to get various superpowers that help you fix up the school, cheat in class, and make aliens fall in love with one another. It's an adorable little experience that anyone who wants to relive their glory days should try, especially if you want to relive them without the risk of being shoved into a locker, but also so you can shoot sparkly stuff out of your hands willy-nilly. Crash Bandicoot has had quite the resurgence in recent years, going from a guest appearance in Skylanders all the way up to a 4th official entry in his series. It only took him 20 years to finally make another game, but hey, I'll take it. Following up that success, the Mad Lads over at Toys for Bob created Crash Team Rumble, a goal-based 4v4 platforming beat-em-up hybrid that's somehow less confusing than that description would have you believe. Players choose from a wide range of returning Crash characters and a few new faces, enter specially made arenas, and try to collect as much Wumpa Fruit as they can, along with relics to activate power-ups and team boosts. As far as multiplayer Crash goes, this is a fairly fun time, with plenty of unique arenas and moves for the characters. Plus, they recently added Spyro to the game, relegating him once again to being a side character, which, well, that just kinda sucks, you know? I mean, why can't Spyro get his own game again?
It's all an illusion.
With an art style reminiscent of the more recent Mickey Mouse cartoon run, and tight, responsive controls and Metroidvania gameplay, Disney's Illusion Island is one of the best platforming games I've played in recent memory. After Mickey and the gang find out the picnic they were invited to was a ruse to make them find some nerds' books for them, they set out across Monolith Island to find the Tomes of Knowledge, learning new abilities to help Metroid their way through this Vania. I feel that this could have been an even better title if it was fully voice acted, given how iconic the 4 playable characters are, but it still offers a lot of of fun, laughs, and constantly shits on Donald. So that's a plus, I suppose. Not really sure why I find it funny, but hey, I mean, it's fun to see it happen, I guess.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Have you ever wanted to just get away from it all? Chart your own course across the vast, empty ocean, spending your days fishing or salvaging old wrecks, and occasionally experience eldritch horrors beyond comprehension? Well then, Dredge is the game for you. Dredge is one of those games that takes a simple concept and makes it addicting, having you slowly explore more and more of this wild and weird ocean, catching fish, gathering materials, and occasionally running from the darkness like this was a Kingdom Hearts title. Its progression feels natural and impactful, the story is mostly told through dialogue with other characters or various notes scattered throughout the ocean, and it's a game that I played for hours the moment I picked it up and can see myself playing it for hours more. Dredge is a mostly relaxing experience when you're not running from gigantic abnormal fish trying to devour you alive, and I know that this game will stay with me for years to come. A wave-based shooter about destroying little red blobs of death riding Mad Max vehicles, this simple but incredibly fun PSVR 2 game is all about seeing just how far you can go and how much scrap you can collect. Armed with nothing but a gun whose parts you can modify, a shield, some health packs, and your own ability to dodge Ikaruga bullets, Gazzlers is a must-play for anyone with a PSVR 2 in my opinion, assuming you enjoy the Borderlands cel-shading aesthetic and little red munchers trying to ruin your day. Is this all just a flimsily made shooting gallery? Sure, but it's a very fun, flimsily made shooting gallery where I can sometimes shake my gun and it goes bang bang better, so I'll take it. It's one of those few games I've played where I actually want to try and climb the leaderboards too, to the point where I've actively clawed my way up to number 7 in the Nightmare difficulty leaderboards. But I'm not gonna just settle for 7th best. Oh no, I'm coming for you, Bedrip Pro Knife 29, like a horde of Gazzlers in thrown together vehicles. I will take that top spot. A surprise release from the same developers The Evil Within of all things, Hi-Fi Rush was a massive surprise announcement that came very early this year that just about everyone who played it enjoyed. A fantastic blend of third-person action combat with rhythm attacks, this Jet Set Radio-inspired game might be short at only a few hours long, but it's well worth playing for the sheer fun that the game has with its world, premise, characters, and overall concept. The music is easily what sells this game for me though, and whether you play in the royalty-free streamer mode or with all the demonetizing musical goodness, this game offers one hell of a rush.
They can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way.
Humanity has often looked to others for guidance, whether that be a spiritual leader, an emotional coach, or a bright glowing Shiba Inu is immaterial. Humanity is a game all about guiding swarms of humans through various trials, utilizing simple commands to have them move in certain directions, jump across gaps, or arm themselves against the heartless. The puzzles themselves are often straightforward enough, simply having you guide the crowd from one spot to another. But they sometimes require that extra little bit of out-of-the-box thinking, especially if you're trying to go for the special Oscar statues called Goldies. In general, it's a fantastically surreal take on how humanity has evolved and grown with time, and I for one will be voting Shiba Glowian as president this year because dang can that dog lead.
Oh no, he's hot!
Breath of the Wild is easily one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. One that reshaped not only the franchise itself, but in many ways the industry surrounding it. Its follow-up, Tears of the Kingdom, may not have taken as many risks or revolutionized gaming nearly as much, but it still managed to provide a massive, fluid experience, and prove once and for all that humanity will default to war crimes whenever possible. With new abilities that are basically just cheat menu options, new areas of a familiar land to explore, and just tons of fantastic Legend of Zelda goodness, there's almost always something to see or do in this massive game. Though I wouldn't really know about that, since I spend most of my time with my 200-year-old techie waifu Pura. I have heard that there's a lot of other good stuff in the game, like apparently a mission where you guide a chicken or whatever that Gonzo got really into because he's horny, but I'm perfectly content just hanging out with my tall, busty science waifu, thank you very much. Oh wait, I forgot about Rehydrated Ganon, bye babe! The LEGO games have stuck to a fairly consistent formula for a couple of decades now, rarely branching out to try something new or unique. Games like LEGO Rock Band or LEGO Worlds show the Swedish-made toys are willing to occasionally fit their bricks into other genres though, and one of the biggest surprises for me was LEGO 2K Drive. Essentially a much blockier Forza Horizon that steals its naming convention from a series of basketball games, 2K Drive is all about racing, building, and completing cute little missions for happy little LEGO people. I do wish the creative suite was just a bit better to control on consoles because I I would make some truly dumb vehicles if I could, but it's an otherwise fun, if occasionally frustrating game to play. Kind of like building with Lego itself on occasion, so I guess good job emulating that? Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Insomniac Games has quietly been one of the best studios in the industry for years now, releasing stellar game after stellar game that is usually overshadowed by something else. And if you watch the Game Awards, you know that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is no different. A follow-up to the original PS4 title as well as Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2 manages to bring stellar action, fantastic villains, and all the usual Spider-Man goodness we've come to expect from Insomniac. I will say that some of the performances feel a bit more forced this time around, and I do wish Miles had more to do in this story, outside of being wary of Peter in the Venom suit or work on his homework, but overall it's still a fantastically fun game to play. Hopefully Insomniac can keep the momentum going with Wolverine and whatever else they have planned following this, which I don't know what that is because I didn't look into the leaks like some of y'all did, so just comment down below with a yes or no if they're going to make a Deadpool game. I think they can handle that pretty well.
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around.
Mega Man is a staple of the gaming industry, though you wouldn't really know it since for the past several years he's been relegated to cameo appearances or game collections. So naturally, instead of making any of their proposed new games, Capcom cancelled all of them and made another collection. And personally, I'm fine with this. The Battle Network games are my personal favorite Mega Man titles, featuring a deck-building pseudo-turn-based combat system, cheeky writing, and some frankly stellar designs for just about everything. This collection brings together every version of the games 1 through 6, because like Pokemon before it, they figured they could eventually get away with dual releases that have minimal changes between them. And they did! Overall, this collection is great, simply because trying to play on a Game Boy Advance these days hurts my eyes, and I can witness perfection like this in glorious HD.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
The Mortal Kombat series is easily one of my favorite franchises in gaming, ever since I first picked up Scorpion in a match against my friend in Deadly Alliance years ago. With this latest entry in the franchise, following the events of Mortal Kombat 11, Liu Kang has rearranged the realms to avoid the conflicts of the past, but something or someone begins to interfere, leading to the sort of usual leaps in logic that get these combatants to engage in brutally bloody fisticuffs. This new game introduces a few unique reimaginings of classic characters, as well as brings back several classic characters through the use of cameo fighters, which basically amounts to nothing more than just an additional attack in the actual game if we're being honest. Overall, I greatly enjoy this newest entry, and I hope they don't just end up rewriting the universe again for the next entry so it has a chance to actually flourish. Who am I kidding? Retcons and rewrites are practically a staple of the franchise at this point, almost as much as Scorpion and Sub-Zero hating each other. Nickelodeon! While I played the original game largely for the memes, I ended up greatly enjoying my time with Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. And now with its sequel, they've managed to not only finally hone the mechanics they've built up in the first game, but introduce plenty of new game modes, a full-blown multiverse story, and also brought in a few more characters from my various wishlist videos, which I'm just super psyched about. I will say that not including all the characters from the first game did hurt a bit, especially since they got rid of Best Girl Tofbei Fong in exchange for Arnold's grandma, but overall I greatly enjoyed my time with the game. It's not the best fighting game of the year, as I touched on just a moment ago, but it was certainly a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and I'm eager to see how far this budding franchise goes. A game all about taking a mundane everyday task and gamifying it, Power Wash Simulator has technically been available since 2021, but it only released to PlayStation in January this year, and that's where I first had the chance to play it, so I'm counting it for my list. Plus, I played it for far longer than several other games this year, including my actual Game of the Year Baldur's Gate 3, so there's that fact too, I guess. Then again, Baldur's Gate 3 didn't include a SpongeBob pack, so yeah, my hands are tied here. Power Wash Simulator is all about using a high-pressure power washer to clean vehicles, houses, movie theaters, ancient statues, and alien spacecraft, removing the excessive amount of grit and grime that seems to coat every viewable surface in a surprisingly satisfying manner. The game also includes a few optional challenge modes, as well as DLC for other franchises like Tomb Raider and Back to the Future, and is just in general a fun game to pressure wash your way through. If you enjoy meticulously ticking away at progress bars or just want to clean every visible surface imaginable, then definitely scrub your way through this one. God, that was a bad joke. I need to scrub my own brain after that. Man, SpongeBob has had a hell of a year, huh? Between All-Star Brawl 2, Power Wash Simulator DLC, and now this? After the success of the Battle for Bikini Bottom remake, Purple Lamp Studios were given the go-ahead to make a sorta spiritual successor to the classic game, and for the most part, I'd say they did a fairly good job with the Cosmic Shake. When SpongeBob and Patrick accidentally destroy Bikini Bottom trying to grant everyone's wishes, it's up to them to travel to new worlds to rescue their friends and right the wrongs they've created. It thankfully plays a lot like Battle for Bikini Bottom, except you only play as SpongeBob this time around, and there's a lot more of that gross-out humor that later seasons of SpongeBob seem to rely on, but is otherwise a fun follow-up that can't quite reach the same heights as the original in my personal opinion. Although Battle for Bikini Bottom didn't have SpongeGar, so which one is truly the inferior game here?
Wasteland? I think you mean wonder.
Remember everything I said about Illusion Island a bit ago, and how it's a fantastic platformer with beautiful visuals, incredible music, and fun, creative gameplay tweaks? All of that easily applies to Super Mario Bros. Wonder as well, but here I get to play as my waifu Princess Daisy, so it's infinitely better. With incredible art direction, a whimsical sense to the overall design, and each level featuring some kind of unique gimmick thanks to the Wonder Flowers, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is probably my new favorite side-scrolling game in the franchise, and I eagerly look forward to playing more of this game whenever the urge strikes. It's a game that just brings me joy from the smallest things, like smear frames on the character movements, or how Daisy keeps Toadette from falling over in the beginning cutscenes, cute little things like that. Plus, this game gave us the singing, marching Piranha Plants, and that's just great. I genuinely wouldn't have been as upset by Piranha Plants' inclusion in Smash Ultimate if they had started singing. I mean, come on, this is just great.
Is that mountain lion tiny or just far away in perspective?
Puzzle games that allow you to bend reality are a weird favorite of mine, and Viewfinder's premise alone intrigued me from the very beginning. Simply take a photo of something, and then place the photo down and voila! You have a new pathway, you can duplicate items, or you can simply destroy the very fabric of reality. Okay, maybe not that one, because then what puzzles would you be solving? But still, you get my point. The game can oftentimes be a bit obtuse with what it wants you to do, and having the final level be essentially a speed run for something that can occasionally require precision is admittedly annoying, but it's still a fantastic overall experience that holds a ton of cute little secrets within. Plus, it has a sort of Cheshire Cat-like narrator that you can pet. How can you not like this game? And with that's it. These are easily not the only games that I played this year, and a few of the omissions I would also recommend, but just want to try and keep this to 20 games. So instead, tell me what your favorite games of 2023 are. Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see all of you in the next video. Thank you so very much for watching, and take care.